TR to PR actually coming in 2026? So today we're going to unpack the most recent announcement. IRCC announced Canada's immigration plan. This is a yearly announcement that we all wait for in November. And this year, within that immigration plan, we actually received the news that the special program might be coming. When I read that on IRCC website, and I told this to Cory was very, very critical about this. So, Cory, what do you think about the announcement?
Well, yeah, I mean, we were having another thing we were doing yesterday, and I said something along the lines of TR to PR will never come back, right? I said that to our webinar, and then lo and behold, that same evening, it's like 33,000 people. I'm still not convinced 100% that this will happen. I think it like again, and we don't know how it's going to work, how it looks like, but I can't imagine another one that we had in 2021, another TR to PR. Like it was bad back then. Like it was, the way that it was positioned, the way that they did the draw, like the you know the whole function of it was terrible, and that's why I'm like reluctant to believe this is even happening. So it remains to be seen, like what becomes out of this, right? So
Yeah.
it's interesting for sure.
So let's look into the phrasing directly. I'm reading this directly from IRCC website. So the phrasing that IRCC kind of put up on their website says, Budget 2025 also proposes to undertake a one-time measure to accelerate the transition of up to 33,000 work permit holders to permanent residency in 2026 and 2027. So
Hmm.
from this, we know that it's going to be a one-time measure. So that means that probably it's going to be some sort of a public policy, I
Yeah.
would guess, right?
Yeah.
So most likely by the phrasing of it, like one-time measure, it doesn't look like express entry draw. It looks like a separate kind of a program, right?
It's but the thing that's confusing to me is they say it's a one-time thing for but they include the years 2026 and 2027. So what does that mean? You're going to invite people, like if it's a one-time thing, then how can it be covering 2 years? I don't really understand. Like if we look at how it was in 2021 with TR to PR, it was one day, and they just said everyone can apply on this starting this day. And then the quota was filled in 6 hours, right? And everyone just rushing to apply on that one given day. But the confusing thing here to me is they mentioned 26 and 27.
But maybe
So
it's a
and one time,
matter of processing, right? Because if you remember
maybe.
2021 TR2PR, yes, everybody applied in one day, but some people received their PR the same year and some people received their PR next year
Yeah.
because of delayed processing, right? So maybe
Yeah.
that's kind of where it's coming from.
It could be, yeah. Like it's just a bit confusing the wording that they're using, right?
Yeah.
But they do say one time policy, well, like one time thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they'll split the processing over the 2 years. But then, when would this? I'm just like thinking of time wise when this draw would happen, or this potential, TR to PR, if we want to keep calling it that. When would it happen? That would be hard to predict.
Yeah, so
As
that's
well.
one of the questions I have on my list.
Oh, okay.
So when do you think TR to PR 2026 is going to happen?
Well, if we look at what I was just mentioning, like that they're going to split it between 26 and 27, and if we're going to assume that that means they're going to, process some in 26 and some in 27, I mean, it should happen, in the beginning, hopefully, of 26, right? Like they're not going to wait
Yeah.
till September or October of 2026 and then try and approve what people in a month or two. No, like they need to give themselves time to process these, right? And
Yep.
if 33,000 is a big number, so even if you're considering splitting that in half over 26 and 27, it should come early in the year, I would say, within the first quarter would make sense, like within the first
Yep.
4 months or 3 months of the year, because they have to give themselves time. So maybe we'll get some more clarity on that in the future, but I
Probably
imagine it
not.
would probably not until like the week before, yeah. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to remind everyone, or maybe you guys haven't been around for TR2PR 2021. But
Yeah,
basically, what happened back then is that we got an announcement middle of April. I literally even remember where I was, what I was wearing, because that was the dark day in my calendar. Because the announcement was saying in the middle of April that I believe it was 2 week warning. 2 or 3 weeks. I forget if it's 2 or 3 weeks, and within that 2 or 3 weeks, we had to prepare documents because we knew that it was the day of May 6th, still remember.
May
And
6th.
they
Yeah,
said May 6th it opens, and we just knew that it's going to fill up, if not in one day, then in 1 hour. And it truly did fill up really, really fast.
yeah.
So looking back, it was April, so first quarter, end of first quarter. I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if the timing would be similar. So anywhere, if I had to predict like February, March, April, something along those lines.
Yeah,
And then yeah, like I would not expect to have a big kind of a warning or opportunity to really prepare, to really think things through, because that's not IRCC style. IRCC
exactly.
likes surprises. They don't like to give us notice at all. So that
Very
would be
true.
my guess. So that leads me to my next question. So what documents? No, let's do this one.
Hmm.
Who will be able to apply for TR2PR 2026?
Yeah, that's another big question mark right now. We just don't know, right? We do not know what the eligibility requirements would be. We know that the intention here is for people who are on work permits in Canada. That's as much as we know. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people are on work permits in Canada right now. It's a lot more than 33,000, right? So there has to be some more criteria here. Maybe it could be you need to have a bachelor's, you must have done this, we don't know, right? Like, you must have X amount of years of work experience in Canada. Anything could happen with IRCC. The reality is we have to wait for that information to come out, and then that's when it's the mad dash to people to gathering their documents and everyone who would be eligible, fighting for these spots, right? So that's why I still can't believe that it will happen because it was so crazy in 2021. Like, we worked our butts off, to prepare, and we did a great job. We actually had more than, I think, a dozen clients that came through TR to PR in 2021, um, which
I
we
think we had a total of 17 clients, like total,
yeah,
and all of them, of course, got approved.
yeah,
But yeah, that's we decided we're going to take a fairly small number of clients and
yeah,
but do a really good job with preparation.
yeah, exactly. And for them, like, we knew the eligibility was, there wasn't, like, it was basically you just had to have, like, your police certificate and get your regular kind of documentation ready. There was no work experience requirements. There was no nothing really. You
Well,
just
it
need to
was
be.
education. It was education.
Was it education only?
Yeah. It
Just
was
an education.
education, so you had to be graduated from Canadian college. And the second one was a work experience requirement. It was for health and other, what they call like priority sectors or whatever. So there were some requirements.
So maybe we could see something similar. I don't know. Yeah. Again, like, it's all speculation right now.
Yeah,
We have to just
exactly.
wait and find out. So I know I've had phone calls already today of people asking me, like, what are we going to do? How are we going to apply? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. But when, like, is it going to be like this? Is it going to be like that? How many people? How do I apply? Which way? I said, I'm sorry, I just don't know yet. We have to wait for more information.
Yeah, absolutely. And but as we know that more information from IRCC is not really going to come like in a timely manner because that's
Yeah.
just how they do things. So I really want to still get people some direction on what they can do right now, knowing that this may be coming. We don't know if it will
Yeah.
be, but at least I don't want you to feel like behind, right? Because what happened
Sure.
in 2021, it was a huge collapse of IELTS and CELPIP centers because this opportunity opened up when government said that in the next 2-3 weeks we're going to accept 30,000 or whatever it was applicants, and you need to have English. And people did not have English.
Yeah.
People started booking those IELTS and CELPIP exams, but there were, like, I had a client who flew to New York to do
Yes, I
CELPIP.
remember
I had
that.
a
Yeah.
client who flew to Dubai to do CELPIP. It was crazy because you couldn't do that in Canada. So I don't want our listeners to really be
Sure.
in that shoes. So what do you think you should prepare right
Well,
now for TR to PR 2026?
yeah, obviously language will come into play no matter what. The same as if it's the same similar kind of program, then yeah, language will come into play. So if you haven't gotten around to an English test yet, do so, right? CELPIP, IELTS scores, like we don't know, do your best, I guess. um, and in terms of other like kinds of things, work on like employment documentation, for example. Police certificates too was a nightmare back then because everybody was rushing to get police certificates and nobody could. We applied without them for a lot of people, and then we had to add it later because it just police certificates take time. So if you have from your home country, you need one. It doesn't hurt to have it now, right? And it will last sometime. So those kinds of documents, employment documents, if you have an employment letter, a Canadian employment letter, start thinking about getting that done properly. Talk to your employer and work with them on that. What else? I think you can just start gathering all your documents that you might need. Like get your permits ready that you've scan your stuff, if you've previously done medicals. Make sure you understand your background. You're going to have to fill out like a background form, Schedule A's, most likely. So understanding your 10-year history of work, 10-year travel history, 10-year address history as well. Having those kinds of things at your fingertips would be really smart at this moment. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, those are very good tips. And while you were talking, I just literally realized that the biggest point of this video that I want to make is that um this opportunity that may be there or may not be there, we don't know, but
Exactly.
definitely this is something that is written on government websites. It's pretty trustworthy, and it's what it's going to do is going to create a paradise
Oh
for
yeah.
scammers and vultures who are going to charge you money to prepare your TR to PR application.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen that even, and I'm sorry, but even licensed immigration consultants, licensed lawyers, I've seen doing that, selling people the dream, charging them money to prepare the application that may not ever happen. So, what I
Exactly.
would say is that you can absolutely prepare documents on your own until there is a more concrete information. Once there is a more concrete situation, that we know the information, IRCC tells you how it's going to work, or at least the confirmation that it's happening, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then you can go and seek out representation. I honestly do think that for these kind of problems, it is worthwhile to seek representation because
Yeah.
we are literally professionally trained on submitting like dozens of applications within 1 hour, so we know how things fly,
Yeah.
right? But please don't go and pay anybody right now who says that they're going to prepare your file for TR to PR, because
Because
the
nobody knows.
reality,
Yeah.
there is nothing to prepare, right?
Yeah, I want to make a point about that too. Is when we did have the one in 2021, you and I, we were like, okay, we can handle a certain amount of applications, but we need to have a realistic number in our head of how many we think we can submit. So if it is like a similar system as 2021, there are consultants out there who might take 30, 40, 50, 60 people and say, sure, everybody come to me and I'll do your TR to PR. But the likelihood is that that person cannot submit 60 applications, in the 1 or 2 hours window that the program might be open, right? So
Yep.
if anybody is going to promise you, make sure you can have confidence in the person that you're working with will be able to submit and doesn't over promise you on these kinds of things, right? Because that I remember that happening. That people in 2021 who were consultants taking on tens and dozens of cases and then not having the ability to submit them, right? And
No.
people paid these consultants thousands of dollars, and then it's like, sorry, I couldn't submit yet. right? The
Also,
program closed already.
because of high volume, the amount of work that we had overall 17 applications, but in that one day, when it was like one specific day to submit, we
Yeah,
submitted 12, I believe, 12 or 13, something like that. And we were like, I actually capped it at 10, but then we had like last minute clients. And I purposely like was like, okay, look, because we need to not only submit them, we actually need to do the good job. Because
yeah.
if that application gets returned, refused, then I will not sleep. I will eat
Well,
myself alive, right?
that's
And
another, just to
yeah,
jump in there. This is like, for some people, this will be their only opportunity, possibly, right? If you're sitting there at 426 points or whatever, and you have no other perspective, pathway to PR right now, like if the province says nothing's working, this could be a one shot, right? So you better do it right. Yeah, just to jump in there.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It can be somebody's one shot. Probably is somebody's one
Oh
shot.
yeah,
And yeah, so if this is going to come to like an actual solid program, and you hear from IRCC that this is a solid program, and if you decide to seek representation, which I personally would advise just for this specific program,
yeah.
um, then I would ask that consultant a question: how many cases
Cases
do
are you
you
taking?
take? How much staff do you have? How are you
Yeah,
going to handle it? Who is going to submit an application? Is it going to be you or your assistant who you're
yeah.
underpaying minimum wage? And I would
And how
ask
can you be
all of
sure
these
that you're
questions.
going to submit my application? Like, are you sure you're going to be able to, in the first hour or two, if the program closes, will I be one of the ones to get in, or are you going to take my money and tell me you couldn't apply, right?
Exactly. And it's about, doing due diligence and doing their best. And there are consultants out there that are absolutely doing their best. And there's certain things that we cannot control, unfortunately, right? But like I was nervous that I would not be able to submit people. Thankfully, we did.
Yep.
But at the same time, there are people who are deliberately just getting money and they really don't care
Yeah.
about the outcome. They're just monetizing on the hype, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think on this sad note, we're going to end this video. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe, please. We're really trying to grow this channel. So please subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, put them down below and we'll try to get to them. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.